Well, my dear student, I have to just continue actually my lecture, and I have to just finish this quickly because this is going to be the last part of it. And teacher's role. Remember, teacher in every setup, like if he is a language teacher, if he is a literature teacher, if he's a mathematician or whatever, his role is like a guide. See, I'm just like a guide. Okay, he is a guide. He is information provider. He is a knack for networking. He should network for sharing, and he is a continuous learner because his learning doesn't stop, but his learning keeps on growing. He is a resource person. All right, he is a researcher. Teacher, he has to research and share with his student. He is a counselor. If his students, if they get depressed, he has to encourage them. He has to just work as a counselor. Right. This is the main role actually of the teacher. And then we can see there that what is happy learning, and indeed this is actually a concept, and which should come, and we should try to understand that. Happy means an enjoyable or satisfied state of being. All right, it's feeling or showing pleasure or contentment, and happy is a feeling of joy. All right. Um, Aristotle, he defines happiness to be the end goal of education. Remember, happiness to be the end goal of education, and happiness is a state of activity. Mahatma Gandhi, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Very good definitions. Mahatma Gandhi says happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And when Shahara, true happiness is archived when there is a perfect balance between present pleasure and future benefits. Okay, these are all defined. And then how to create higher performing and happier classrooms. Okay, is by collaborative learning. We have discussed exhaustively in it. Learning tasks or activities where students work together. So this you make them happy. Feedback has to be taken. Information given to the learner and teacher about the learner's performance relative to the feedback has to be taken because the feedback guarantees improvement. Masterly learning breaks subject matter and learning content into units with clearly specified objectives which are pursued within until means the masterly learning means that every unit, everything has to be taught under certain objective and rules and keeping in view the syllabus and the curriculum before you there. Okay, metacognition, as I have just discussed this, you see, and self-regulation, learning to learn approaches. All right, that helps students think about their learning more explicitly. Metacognitions in simple word means thinking about thinking. All right. One-on-one tuition. One-on-one tuition or tutoring is where a teacher assistant or other adult gives a pupil intensive individual effort. So this sometimes we do have weaker students. They try to come and discuss with their teachers. The topic and the thing. Peer tutoring, a range of approaches in which learner works in pair or small group to provide each other teaching support. Okay. Comprehension strategies, helping learners understand text by using graphic organizers. Okay, developing questioning strategies and monitor their own comprehension. These for understanding any comprehension given to the students, any task, any reading. So graphic organizers, developing questioning strategies, and monitor their own comprehension. These are the strategies which help better comprehension. Some more approaches can be multisensory approach, collaborative, which has been discussed, experiential, democratic approach, individually guided approach, positive approach, cooperative approach, and subject approach. These might be some other approaches. And strategy, obviously, you have to introductory repo, right? It has to be developed with, and remember, unbiased teaching should be there without targeting anyone for something bait, because if you try to start targeting students, so they will have fear and you won't be able to teach them best. Correct with love. I mean, compassion should be shown actually to correct your student. Two phases. First, second, awareness model. I mean, posing and completing task, and discussions in analysis of the phase one. All right. Move on. We have to just move on to certain different dimensions and elements which have those dimensions. All right. For example, we have to develop interpersonal relationship, which include well-being, setting, communicating high expectations, provided high level of support, extroversion, withdrawal of negative thinking, encourage positive self-narrative, open-minded, loving and caring, empathy, humor, willingness, and good rapport. Okay, and then we should try to have goal setting, motivations. I mean, we have to motivate our students. All right, suppose if in keeping in view the current conditions, if they lose heart, we have to keep them motivated till they complete their task. Industriousness, hard work, envision possibilities, discourage fear, prioritize emotion, trust, develop creativity, imagination, self-esteem, critical thinking, preparatory, instructional reinforcement, rediscovering the joy, fun of teaching, more entertainment, and correct with love. All right. And then a classroom conduct. We have to ensure orderliness, engage strengths, activate positive memory, engage positive self, development of socio-emotional skill, give student choice, performing happy activities, rational approach, reducing stress, enhancing students' innovations ability, preserve and recover knowledge of student, sound in technology. All right. And ethics. All right. I mean, we have to practice acts of kindness, learning to forgive, no punishment, discipline, emphasize respect for each child's individuality, chance for every child to develop is unique, encourage children to pay attention to others' people's needs and interests, to care about others, and towards holistic learning. All right, and praising and criticizing, satisfaction from the student. These things are to be developed in the students, and the classroom should be practiced with these things. Effectiveness of teaching and classroom management. Okay, facilitating content, small discussions, collaborative learning, active experimentation, individual attention to each student and child, manage energy, making a beauty environment, artistic class, profession managing time, group games, improvement of comprehension, making connections, predicting and answering questioning, practicing regarding lessons, and employability. All right, work experience, environment, develop and promote skills and attributes, teamwork and resilience. All right, we have to try to to work, just to share with them the work experience or how one has to involve oneself, and how to develop and promote skills in interviews for becoming employed, and the importance of teamwork, assessment, feedback. All right, fair interpretation and evaluation. We should be very fair in interpretation, monitoring and clarifying, summarizing and synthesizing, evaluating. Okay. Then from student perspective, what the student are supposed to be doing actually. I mean, they should be aware that whether their mind is growing or not. Growth mindset, pride, knowledge, self-regulation, and creativity. Self-motivate, intrinsic motivation is very, very, which should come from within. All right, develop ability, well-being, withdrawal of negativity, enjoyable, self-confidence, and use more opportunities. Okay, and goal setting, ambitious. Uh, there should be, though ambitious is a little bit negative, but we are using it in a very positive connotations here. Ambitious means a student should be, uh, he should not be static. He should aim at higher in order to become something. He should show politeness, self-confidence should be there, high degree of student engagement, practicing positive thinking, and and inspiring adventure. All right. In all these approaches, the most powerful thing, remember, is to recognize that they focus explicitly on engaging both the student and teacher. Look, if you see there, I mean, teacher and students, I mean, they both have a very important role to play. You cannot separate one from other. Both of them, all the approaches are centrally um, when the teachers are treated like intelligent professionals, they are, and given the flexibility to engage in approaches to teaching and learning that go beyond archaic model, they're often bound to students respond differently and education is improved. Okay. Um, Finally, we are just moving to the final part of this lecture. Um, Shifting role of teachers in the present scenario, remember. I think the role of teacher, they should change with the passage of time and in the presence of the scenario. What is today the modern scenario? So this is a new environment which also involves a change in the roles of both teacher and students. All right. I mean, students and teacher, they should try to change their role. The role of teacher will change from knowledge transmitter to that of learning facilitator, knowledge guide, knowledge navigator, and co-learner with the students. Remember, this teacher. ICTs provide powerful, effective tools to support, to shift student-centered learning and the new roles of teacher and students. Okay, and the success of student depends essentially upon, remember, the competence of teacher. If the teacher are competent, so student will be good. Their sense of dedication, it is very, very important, and how much teachers are dedicated, and their identifications with the interests of the students committed to their care. All right, this should be there. Encouraging thinking. Teacher, they are being challenged to utilize new approaches and methods in an effort to improve learning outcomes. They have to seek improved ways of teaching by developing new programs and instruction strategies such as inquiry approaches, simulations game. All right. Computer assisted instructions. I mean, they should try to work upon these program learning material. All right. Information provider. A traditional responsibility of teacher is to pass on to student the information, knowledge, and understanding on a topic appropriate at this stage of their studies. This should be there. The role model. The teacher should model or exemplify what should be learned. All right. What does it mean? Student learn not just from what their teachers say, but from what they see and the practice and the knowledge and skills and attitude they exhibit. Means the teacher are followed practically by their students. If the teacher are great, good, pragmatic, so their students will be the same. Otherwise, the result will be vice versa. And teacher is a facilitator. The key role of a teacher is a facilitator and a support to ensuring learning. Teacher is the one who facilitates learner to realize their potentials, articulate their personal and context specific experiences in ways that are acceptable in a wider context of our nation. Teacher is a participant in the learner's efforts. Teachers have to recognize that in a learner-centered situation, curriculum involves and is not predestined designed. teacher merely prepare for providing possible support in the process of learning. Every subsequent learning situation cumulatively provides better insight to teacher and discerning learner needs and create pool and identities varied support. In this sense, teacher is a participant in the learner's efforts at evolving learning experiences and helping to develop program for learning. Means teacher has a greater role to play in order to make the students succeed. And I hope that such teachers are very rare, but at least they are there. Teacher to find his own teaching style. There is no one method that is effective in causing all learners to learn in similar ways. So therefore, this is a very, very important. Though many researches have been done, many methods and approaches have been discovered and have been worked on, but I think not a single of them can be guaranteed that it has to be effectively used on all students with the same intensity. No, all the methods are not effective in all learning cases. So each teacher has to find one style of teaching to perceptive practice. He has to look, he has to understand the students. All right, recognize himself as a professional. Teacher needs to recognize himself or herself as a professional. If we understand that we are professional, believe me, many of our problems will be resolved. She should be endowed with necessary knowledge, attitude, competence, and commitment, and enthusiasm. All right, spirit of seeking new ways and means, capable of reflection and sensitive. She should be perceptive not only to the learners and the institution, but the emergent concern and the large perspective within which one functions. Okay, teachers' sensitivity to students' needs and problem. One of the most important characteristics of a good teacher is the ability to identify, right, a student's problem and needs. Okay, so finally, thank you very much for your patience, and believe me, speaking and sitting before the screen is so difficult job. I have experienced this thing here again. Finally, I have to conclude this lecture here on this. Everybody, remember, everybody and anybody cannot teach. All right, teaching requires, remember, patience, and it's a mission. So this was a very good exhaustive lecture from doctor from India, and I also studied about it in. I tried to. There were certain concepts, which were beyond my understanding at that time. Then I updated myself and I share with you people, and I hope that you will try your best able to understand. And with this, I come to the end of this lecture. I'll continue and I'll come to some other lecture as well.